We are in Florida this afternoon where the defense's case is winding down in the suitcase murder trial.
Defendant Sarah Boone is accused of zipping up her boyfriend Jorge Torres in a suitcase and then leaving him in that suitcase to die.
Cell phone video of the incident shows Boone taunting her boyfriend despite his repeated pleas for help.
But Boone did take the stand yesterday and she said she was afraid of Torres and what he might do to her if she were to let him out.
Now, before we get you back inside of the courtroom for more testimony from this last witness of the defense, let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft, who is outside of that Orlando courtroom covering this trial for us. Kelly, great to have you on. We heard a lot about the defense's battered spouse syndrome defense and the expert talking about that. Tell us what you picked up on from these witnesses.
Well, hi there, Julia and Judge Ashley. So really big witness here for the defense. Dr. Julie Harper, she is on the stand. She's on cross-examination now. But on direct examination, she talked about battered spouse syndrome and how that applies here in this case to Sarah Boone. One of the things the defense counsel did talk about and review with her were the numerous photographs and the injuries that Sarah Boone said that she sustained at the hands of Jorge Torres. Also, she was asked, did she take a look and review that video of the bat? When we saw that video today, which was really alarming, of Jorge Torres really hitting a TV with that baseball bat in a moment of rage. So we played that. They played that for the jurors as well. If we have that, we could go ahead and play that for our viewers.
You're gonna help me take it out. You're gonna help me take this out.
And it does appear to get worse and worse, that video. So on the stand, Dr. Harper was asked specifically, how does battered spouse syndrome apply to the defendant, Sarah Boone, in this case? Let's listen to what she had to say.
In your opinion, and I know you've gone over this event with Sarah Boone, this February 23rd, 2020 event, is your opinion that she was suffering from battered spouse syndrome at the time of that event?
Yes, she had the patterns ingrained in her behavior that would be typical of a victim who's responding to traumatic events in a predictable way. So that would fit that.
And it's fair to say that because of the intimate partner and the prior violence, that you would have a heightened sense of when danger was about to occur?
Yes.
When a threat was about to occur?
Yes.
So you heard that expert testifying right there. What she was talking about is that Sarah Boone, according to her analysis, she met with Sarah Boone 9 times. So she analyzed her 9 separate times. Actually, it was 8, and then twice in one day. So that makes the total 9. And she said that she suffers from PTSD. And then there's a component of that, the battered spouse syndrome. Now, on cross-examination, what the state has been trying to do is ask about this narcissistic personality disorder. This is kind of part of the state's theory that Sarah Boone had this narcissistic personality disorder. That was her trait. But what Dr. Harper said on the stand is she did not meet all of the criteria. You needed to have 5 check marks to be diagnosed with that narcissistic personality disorder. And she said that Sarah Boone does not meet that standard.
All right. Now, we also know earlier a former neighbor of Sarah Boone was on the stand, and, you know, a jailmate before had said, oh, she was so nice, like a school teacher. What did this neighbor of Sarah Boone have to say?
Well, Judge Ashley, pretty much the same thing. She was talking about how these past incidents of violence, that when Sarah Boone would come over to her house, she would actually call Sarah Boone over, and she would notice, things on her body like choke marks and then marks on her arm. And she was even asked on cross-examination, well, how do you know? You don't really know who those came from. And she would explain to the jurors, well, I would hear fighting inside the home. I would hear the dogs barking. Let's go ahead and listen to a bit of her testimony.
Did you witness anything about her person or her body that gave you cause for concern?
Sometimes I would see it like she had been choked around her neck or her arm be hurt. Have a mark on her arm.
And so you heard her say the choke marks around her neck and then also some marks on her arm. And just briefly, some takeaways from the jurors. Still a lot of note-taking going on inside. Dr. Harper was on the stand, has been on the stand for a really long time. So there were some brief moments where they were not taking notes, but they are going to have a lot of notes to go through because they are certainly taking a lot of them.